Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Pinfalls. This is Pinfalls WWE Clash at the Castle. I, of course, am Johngy of JohnGB.com and Everyday Sports. And with me, as always, who else but Tommy else?
How you
All
doing,
right,
John?
Tom.
I'm good, John. How are you?
I am good. Clash at the Castle. We're going across the pond, as they say.
Yeah. Probably over 15 years ago. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers put out a live DVD, and it was called Live at Slane Castle, and that's where they're having this pay-per-view.
Oh,
And that DVD, I'll tell you, uh, I must have watched it 1,000 times just because they're playing like in this field, like right outside this castle, and that backdrop was awesome. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to do this, you know, out here at the castle. I think if they do it anything like the Chili Peppers did, it's just going to be an awesome place to be doing a pay per view.
will you be eating fish and chips in honor of it, or?
No, sadly, I'm going to be working when this thing's going on, as it is Saturday during the day. I think around noon or one our time,
Yeah.
and so I will have to catch it when I get home. Unfortunately,
Well, you could
and
eat fish and chips of the replay.
I suppose I could. I suppose I could. I probably would be eating fish regardless. The chips would be something I'd have to go out of my way for, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, let's just jump into it. Now, I know you're going to ask me a question.
Oh, what our current rate of scores are. Okay, well that's a
Well, it's funny
real.
you should ask that. I have that right here.
Okay, what do we got? Where are
For
we at?
this year to date, Tommy is 21 and 23. I am 19 and 25. So I'm two games behind or two wins behind you this year. Lifetime, you are an even 30-30. Very nice. I am 37 and 23 lifetime. So I've got you lifetime, but you're catching up this year.
Okay, here's a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
I think the lifetime scores should only really need to be brought up once a year. I don't think we need to bring that up every single time. I think we should just
All right.
talk about the year to date, you know, and then when we get to the end of the year, then we'll talk, big picture.
All right. I'm cool with that.
All
I'm
right.
catching up to you this year anyway. So
All right. I mean, it's fine. I just think that that's the most relevant one. I mean, you don't want to start throwing too many stats at people.
fair enough. Your suggestion is duly noted with the pinfalls committee.
All right. What do we have for our first match here, John?
Well, I'm going to start off with the match I care least about, the six-woman tag team match. It is Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Asuka versus Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky.
Io Sky. Yeah,
Io
well,
Sky.
she was Io Shirai,
But
and
yeah,
and I think she was like the mistress of the sky or whatever the hell it was. They've changed it to just Io Sky. I don't like it. I
see,
liked
I
Io.
just know her from Shirai. I don't know the Io part.
Yeah, no, I liked Io. I liked just her name being Io Shirai. Io Sky just sounds. I don't know.
Odd.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. It's awkward. Why are you so down and at least interested in
Well,
this one?
again, it's one of those. Let's throw six women in the match. It's the filler match. It's obviously going to prolong some feuds, some individual feuds going. So, I mean, on the plus side, it's giving the women a chance to shine on a pay per view, although a lesser pay per view.
Well, from a storyline standpoint, though, Bailey has come back and she has this faction now, and it's a three-woman faction. So I think they're not thrown together so much as
No,
their opponents are. It's
correct.
kind of like they needed three girls to take on this faction, and so with that being said, I think that for my prediction, I'm going to go with Bailey and her crew because I don't see why they would. This is like their first big pay per view match as a trio, so I just don't see why they would set them up to lose for this one. So as much as I do I love all the wrestlers on the other side of it. Actually, I mean, I don't see them as a team, but I do like them individually. But yeah, storyline wise, it just wouldn't make sense for them to do anything but have Bailey's people go over.
Now, see, I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind a women's tag team, and I think it'd be cool with the faction. They could do the Freebird rule and have any two of them defend against all the time. That would be cool. I love the Freebird rule, and I like them as a faction. I got nothing against that, but and I like all three faces. But it's just you're throwing them in there for no real reason other than to just throw them in there. With that being said, I agree completely with you. There's no reason why the faction's going to lose. They just put them together. They're starting to roll. To have them lose now would just be to kill the whole momentum and kill the force. Why would they do that?
Right. You know, it's not like they haven't done that before. I mean, but
Yes.
but logically, yes, that should be the case. I mean, I mean, we'll get into it a little later, but I mean, like Judgment Day, falling apart after like a month, as far as them booting Edge out. I mean, that was just a bad move, in my opinion. But we'll
let's bring up. You brought up Judgment Day. Let's get to that match then. Judgment Day are being challenged by
Rey Mysterio and Edge. Okay, so again, I just the whole Judgment Day thing is just a very awkward scenario now. I mean, when it was Edge and Damian Priest, that was cool, and you knew there would be more people coming. And then when the third person was Rhea Ripley, then it was like, all right, now this is really looking like a solid team here. And then the Finn Balor thing just seems forced. I just have a hard time buying him as a heel, and then for them to turn on Edge, which they really had no good logical reason to do that. I mean,
soon at least
you're taking out one of a Hall of Famer and someone who is just an absolute asset to any team, for God's sakes. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain by getting the rub and being, and if you're gonna do that and you're gonna have a turn, that's like a couple of years down the road or something like that. That's not, you don't do that after a month, because now it puts Edge in this weird, awkward position where he came out, he was this heel, and he was really pushing the heel thing and the new entrance music and the gear and the whole thing and stuff. And now he's thrown into a position where now he suddenly has to just go back to being face to accommodate the fact that these guys are heels. And it's just so forced and just interrupted that I have a hard time having any real investment in anything to do with Judgment Day at this point. I have no interest in them whatsoever. So Edge and Mysterio versus them. I mean, I think they're due to get a win. Edge and Mysterio. From what I can tell, the Judgment Day have been, kind of getting away with murder. So I'm going to lean towards Edge and Mysterio for the win on this. I think they want to make the crowd happy out there overseas too. They got to give them a few big wins. I think that's one that would send them home happy.
I think this I agree with what you're saying, and the way they could have saved the Edge thing is but Mysterio's not the guy. If this whole thing was planted by Edge to suck in a guy like Mysterio and then do the old Sting into the Four Horsemen thing or whatever like that, and then Edge goes back into Judgment Day and it's only used just to beat the hell out of somebody. But Mysterio's not the guy,
right?
If Christian was back for some reason and Edge wanted to get even with him for some goofy thing, that could pull it off.
Yeah, see, I could see the only way you could have some sort of redeeming factor is that this whole thing has been a staged plan from the get-go from Edge, that it would appear as though he was thrown out and all that sort of stuff. And but there's got to be an end game. There's something and if you're trying to do this to recruit somebody, it's definitely not Mysterio, although they have been trying to get Dominic in there.
That's the other one.
So Rey could just be a conduit to get to Dominic. But again, even that, I mean, that's a lot to go through to get Dominic Mysterio into your team. God love him and everything, but I mean, like, this is not that big of a get. So if that's the plan, I think that they could have put their energy somewhere else. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see how everything shakes down. But I mean, as far as just the match goes, yeah, I'm going with Edge and Ray on this one.
As am I. I hate to keep agreeing with you on everything, but when all signs point to it, you have to go with it.
It is
Judgment
what it
Day is
is.
a mess right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, a win would be good for them to help build them, but they're still a mess. Until there's some direction with them, there's no point in giving them a win. Now, maybe Dominic joins them for some odd reason, and then but boy, like, even like it's hard to invest myself. Oh, great, they got Dominic Mysterio. Does that really like do a whole lot?
Right, like if Dominic gets involved somehow and like intentionally costs Edge and Ray the match or something like that, yeah, it's controversial for like the 30 seconds it's going to take to do it. And then after that, it's like, well, okay, well, now what? Now he's part of Judgment Day. Well, who cares?
Yeah, they could have just had him turn on Ray anytime and just have that feud.
Right. And I still just don't see enough motivation. They keep trying to make it look like uh, Dominic is getting frustrated with his dad, and his dad's holding him back and stuff. But even still, he seems like he doesn't seem that frustrated. He seems just mildly annoyed. It's like he's just like it bugs him, but he's not losing sleep over it or anything. Certainly not enough to like turn on him and join a heel faction over it. I mean, it's like, he got regular Cheerios instead of Honey Nut Cheerios at the store. It's like it's annoying, but he'll live with it.
Well, I'd rather have the regular Cheerios than the Honey Nut.
I'm a Honey Nut guy, but I like regular Cheerios too.
How about the multigrain? I like those.
Well, I do like the multigrain. Yeah.
And you know what? Pumpkin season, they're out. Just saying. All right, let's move on to the next match. We got my favorite guy, Riddle, versus Seth
freaking
Rollins.
Yes. Hey, Randy. I love that dude. This is a cool rivalry. Honestly, I think I like two guys who are in similar physical condition, who have they're tall guys, but they're very agile. Riddle's got a little more technical wrestling background to him, and UFC, but then you've got someone in Rollins who's got an extremely strong pro wrestling style, and they've been going back and forth, and I can honestly say I can't really get a good temperature on just like where in this feud they are, and who would need the push in this. I'm looking at it more on paper. I feel like Riddle ultimately needs to go over, but I don't know that this will be the show that it happens at. As much as I am a Riddle fan, I think I am going to have to go with Seth Rollins on this. I think that Riddle will have an excellent showing. I think it'll be one of the best matches of the night, and but I think that they're going to let Seth keep going with a win and let this thing get up to a boil. So by the time we get to maybe like Survivor Series or something, then they can really give Riddle his opportunity to cash in.
Well, is Extreme Rules the next pay-per-view?
Shouldn't you know that? Mr. Pinfalls.
All right, we're going to edit this part out clearly. But in either case, moving right past your
well, do you think if it was Extreme Rules at the next show that would be in favor of one or the other?
Well, yeah, because I think Rollins is going to win, and then I think the feud gets settled at Extreme Rules with Riddle probably going over Rollins.
If that was the case, if then I would agree with you. Yeah, I don't think this is something that needs to go as far as Survivor Series or anything like that. But I do feel like it still needs just a little more time to simmer before they give you the payoff. So
Well, I'm going with Rollins regardless of what the next pay per view is. I just thought that that would be a good place to settle it.
you're going with Rollins based solely on the fact that he's facing Riddle. That's all that it.
No, no,
You
I think
see two names on paper, and you're going to go with whoever isn't Riddle is what you're going to go with.
are you
So
questioning my journalistic integrity?
absolutely,
Yeah, what do you know? All right, so we agree on 3 for 3 so far. Our next match is Gunther,
yes.
who holds the Intercontinental title, versus Sheamus.
Gunther all the way. I don't see any reason they're taking that off of him anytime soon. I do not like his new name, Gunther. It just doesn't.
Dumb.
It does not work for me. I really loved Imperium and that whole gimmick that they had going on in NXT UK. Just he was a great, top tier heel. Like he was like the Darth Vader of NXT UK. And he had, Imperium was just it was a cool, just militant style type of group and everything. And he's still carrying that, with him now and everything, which is cool. I just think the name doesn't suit him. He and Sheamus should have a hell of a match. Those are two big bulls right there going at it. But I just don't think that they're. I think they are very invested in Gunther, and I think that they want to, really build him up. And so, and things in Scotland. I don't think the Scottish are as high on the Irish, so they may not mind seeing Sheamus lose a match. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm going with Gunther.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Scottish thing is interesting, and the fact that Sheamus is one of Triple H's boys, so that is the factor there. I was torn on this match. Do you really name a face Gunther? Gunther is a heel name.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And well, Sheamus, he goes back and forth. He's like the new Big Show, so except he's in better shape. So I don't know. I was back and forth on this site, but yeah, it comes down to it, exactly what you said. They're invested in Gunther. Taking the title off him now doesn't stalls that, if you will. Unless Sheamus uses some chicanery to get the win and then gets the crowd really hating, which will set up a big finish later on in the night. But I am going to agree with you and go with Gunther, although I'm really torn on this one. I like 51-49.
Yeah. As far as Sheamus being one of Triple H's guys, Triple H still knows, what's best for business. As much as I hate to use the line, I think he knows that they need to invest into Gunther, and they got to get him in front of everybody and really get across to everybody who he is and stuff. Because if you watched him on NXT UK, and you already have a sense of his presence and what he brings to the table, and it's good. It is good. But if you're only catching him for the first time now on WWE, then they're reestablishing him. So I think that it's important that he gets that win, and I think Triple H knows that, and he'll take care of Sheamus. He'll take all of those guys who are Triple H's guys will get taken care of at some point. And I think that one of the things that is nice about Triple H being in charge of that sort of stuff is that I think that the talent knows that their time will come. He's fair. He'll make it happen, so just play ball, work the game, and just no pun intended. And and they'll get there at some point. So, He's just you gotta play your part sometimes, help get the other guys over.
I see this match though maybe ending in a DQ of some sort. I don't know. With Gunther going over big, still looking good. Sheamus not losing any cred, but yeah, Gunther gets the win. So we're 4-4 or 4 for 4 on green. We got the SmackDown Women's Championship. We got Liv versus Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I'm a huge Shayna Baszler fan. Love
Liz
Shayna
is the
Baszler.
champ, just to be clear.
Yeah, Liv is the champ. I'm a huge Baszler fan. Um, I love Shayna Baszler. I thought she was a fantastic champion. Just an absolute born heel. Just has the look, knows how to work the mic, knows how to sell it in the ring. Her wrestling style is just aggressive. I mean, she's got like a Chris Benoit, just aggressiveness to her. Just like she just goes in there and just tears people apart. I love watching her.
Yeah.
Liv. I have issues with Liv. I feel like
Does she know about that?
I feel like there's a lot of potential in Liv that she still hasn't quite unlocked yet. And granted, she's young and everything, but and she has evolved for sure. And it's really a shame that the Riot Squad had broken up or been broken up. And I think that she would have ultimately thrived even better in the long run, having spent more time in that faction, not just for the rub, but for the time spent with both of her mates in there, because they just had a lot more experience. They were all very, very close friends, which was awesome. So to have that around you 24/7 will make you a better in-ring competitor, make you better on the microphone and all that stuff. So it was like a free education that sort of got taken away from her. And I feel like it kind of stunted her growth a little bit. Her getting the title still feels a little premature to me. But now that she's got it, I don't necessarily want to see her have a short run. I'm going to go with Liv winning the match, but I have to say she's going to have to really put on a show to make that believable. Because, I mean, if you put it on paper, or if this was a shoot match and this was a real life match, I mean, Baszler would she'd have Liv done in like 5 seconds, man. I mean, it'd be over. So it's going to really take them doing some serious storytelling to make this, believable if she's going to win over Baszler. I don't see Baszler taking the title right now. It's just there's more to work. There's more to be gained by Liv retaining. I think for the overall roster for now. So
The only way I could see Baszler winning is if she wins this one and then they have the rematch, and either the next show or 2 shows, Liv takes it back. I don't like that scenario because I agree with you. I think Liv winning the title originally was premature. Then you to have her come back and win it again and make it all believable is wacky.
Yeah.
I think Baszler should win this one, and she should have a really good run with it.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I think Liv is going to win it.
Yeah, no, it's whenever Liv loses the title, it's going to need to have some space between that and her next title win. I mean, granted, most people's first title runs are not their best, by any stretch. I mean, everybody is going to get better at it as they do it, as time goes on. So, I mean, I'm willing, obviously, you cut her some slack, but again, I still just don't think she was quite ready in the first place, but she's in there now, so she's gotta do it. And it's a chance for her to prove herself. I mean, like I said, if she can, I do see posts on like Instagram where it looks like she trains very regularly. I see her in the ring training. So, I mean, she's putting in the work, and you can't really ask anything more of her than that. but I mean, everybody learns at a different pace, and and it just, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But this is one where the art of storytelling in a wrestling match is really going to have to be pronounced, because it's what's gonna make this believable. Because again, it's like, I know you've taken umbrage with like the Big Show versus Mysterio. The only, like, yes, of course, if the two of them fought, yes, the Big Show would absolutely destroy Rey Mysterio, and very quickly. You know, but through storytelling, they find a way for Mysterio to be able to pick the person apart, and break them down and get them down to his level so that he can get a win. They're going to have to figure out something along those lines here, because I mean, like I said, Baszler's just an animal, and Liv just seems too delicate. She seems fragile, and just like I have a hard. She doesn't come off very aggressive. She doesn't look like she's hurting the person that much doing the things that she does. You know, um, she's good at selling pain. And being, and there's a lot to be said for that. But if you're talking about someone who looks fragile and doesn't look like they hurt people very much, versus somebody who looks grizzled and looks like she'd break your nose in one shot, it's a bit of a mismatch there. So they're going to have to find a way to make it convincing.
Well, one of the ways is they could have somebody come in like a Natty and attack Baszler. Somebody else could come in and attack Baszler, which then would spawn off that feud, and then Liv would have a new feud.
They could, but here's what my problem with that is that I still think that shows a lack of faith from the office.
That's true.
In her ability to carry that out. Because if they're bailing her out with interference, like in all these big matches or something like that, that's a lack of faith that they don't think that this match can carry all the way out. Which isn't to say that they wouldn't do it, but it's just, if that's the case and that's how they feel about her being champion, then they need to get the belt off of her and put it on someone who they have faith in. So,
see, this is why I bring the grizzled wrestling veteran you onto the show. Next match, final match.
Next match.
We are 5 for 5.
I knew the answer to this match the day that they announced the paper.
All right. Well, it's for the Universal title. We got Roman Reigns defending against Drew McIntyre.
Yes, and while
in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, and while you might think that being in his homeland, he may have an advantage, I can tell you unabashedly that I am certain Roman Reigns will defeat him.
And why is that, sir?
I don't think outside of the live audience there, I don't think anybody wants to see Drew McIntyre be the champion, to be honest. I also don't think that after all of this time, that's how Roman Reigns' title reign is going to come to an end. I just don't see it happening. Yeah, it would be a big triumphant moment and everything for Drew McIntyre, there's no doubt. But this is like, at this point, whoever ends up defeating Reigns, it's almost like defeating the streak. It's like he's had that title for so long. They've unified, in the course of it, he unified both the Raw and SmackDown titles. The Usos unified the tag team titles from both shows, and he has fought the likes of Brock Lesnar, several times and still come out on top. He's defeated Drew McIntyre many times already. I just don't see him being the guy. I don't see Drew McIntyre being the guy who's going to beat him.
Well, the only thing I would say against that, but it's too soon. If the rumor of if the rumor of Roman Reigns versus The Rock were to happen at WrestleMania, you'd have to have the title off of him before then. But I don't think now is the time to do that.
Right, and I agree. Title would definitely not be on the line in a WrestleMania match with The Rock. I believe, though, that they would save that for something more like Survivor Series. You're not going to do it on a Saturday afternoon pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Right.
This
Or
is
the Rumble.
right. This is a big that the Reigns dropping that title whenever it happens is going to be a big deal. And this is going to be a pay-per-view that just by nature of when it's airing and everything is one that a lot of people are going to be catching on replay. And
Right.
if Reigns loses the title, they're going to want everyone watching that live, and they're going to want Twitter blowing up and all that sort of stuff. Logistically, it doesn't make sense for him to win. So Reigns is going over.
Yeah, the only advantage you get and he might actually win. See, this is where it is. McIntyre might win by DQ or some other stuff,
Yeah.
But Roman's walking away with the title. The only thing that a Drew McIntyre championship win would get is the pop from the crowd there, and that's about it. And like you said, on a Saturday afternoon, you're going to get very little pop in the United States.
Here's the thing: even though yes, he could technically get the win and Reigns retains the title, the crowd's not going to be any happier about that.
Right.
It's not enough of a consolation that like he's still going to get the whole crowd standing ovation, flipping out like if he won the title. So it's not a big enough consolation for them to even bother doing it. So, but
what if it's a like dusty finish where McIntyre appears to have won, and then they somehow figure out how to have Reigns disqualified, so he technically wins, but he doesn't get the title. The crowd still popped because they thought he won, and then it sets up a rematch next month.
Well, or he could think that he got the 3 count, or he could think he got the pin, and the ref doesn't see it, or something like that.
But that doesn't give you the crowd pop. I was trying to figure out the crowd pop.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess this is why we'll just have to watch and see.
So just to be clear, we are betting that Reigns wins or that Reigns leaves with the title. What are we predicting here?
I'm going to go with Reigns. I'm definitely going with Reigns leaving with the title.
That's
for sure. I'm just gonna stick to my guns and say Reigns gets the win, because like I said, even if you gave McIntyre the win but he doesn't get the title, it's not making the crowd any happier than if he just loses. I mean, it's not enough, So
if Reigns leaves with the title but loses the match, are you and I correct, or are we wrong? Or are those two bets, if you will?
We could keep them separate. Separate.
Well,
we're both betting the same thing, aren't we? Or are you going with Drew for the win?
No, I'm going with the same as you. But
all right, well, that doesn't matter either way.
Well, it does, because it will either be now we have 7 guesses or predictions versus 6, so we might be 6-1 or 5-0, 5-1.
Okay. All right, fine. Yeah, count them as.
I like.
All right, Mr. Statistician. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. Have your extra match in there. We'll put that there. We got 7 on there. Then
you're cranky today.
This guy wants to fluff up the numbers here a little bit.
It's not fluff up the numbers. It could work against me too.
It doesn't. But the thing is that we just all of our predictions are the same for the first time, I think, actually ever. We have all the same predictions. So whether or not you or I are wrong, neither one of us are going to win this one. So it really doesn't matter. It's a wash.
Yeah,
it's already
a wash. It really speaks volumes, I think, of this pay-per-view. I'm not real excited about this one. I'm going to miss it because I'm going to be at the wrestling showcase, but I'm not really upset about. I mean, I'll watch it later on, but
well, like I said when we were getting on the air, I was like, this is. Unfortunately, this is not one that's hard to call. I mean, you at least had one match where you were like, on the edge of it or whatever. But I mean, like, all of this seems pretty obvious to me. There's just a lot of reasons why it just seems like, again, like why would Bailey's faction not win, and stuff like that. It's like it just seems pretty obvious. So. We'll see. We'll see.
There we have it. We agree on 7 things throughout the night or day. We encourage everyone to check out WWE on the Peacock Network on Saturday afternoon. Check your local listings for the times, and check back with us to see how we did.
Yeah.
Any
Also,
parting words, sir?
well, I also wanted to throw out there a reminder that our spin-off show of this, Pinfalls Retro, has had its first episode. We covered SummerSlam from 2002. You can listen to the entire deep dive of it on Spotify under the Johngy or Else banner. Or you can visit the Johngy or Else YouTube page, which has the entire episode, but also has all of the matches individually broken down. So if you just want to hear our commentary and thoughts on a single match, you can check it out there too. You'll also find all of the previous episodes of Pinfalls on there as well. So,
and more retro or more Pinfalls retros are coming.
Yes.
We are willing to take requests. We think we know which one the next one is, but we're not going to reveal it yet. Spoilers. We're not.
And we already have a few people. I got a couple people now who have requested to come on as guests to talk about some pay-per-views. So we may have some of those as well.
Brutus Beefcake?
No.
The Man Muffin from Minnesota?
No, but hats off to him. Hats off to him. Look, Google him if you've never heard of him. The Man Muffin from Minnesota. All right, everybody.
We should end on the Man Muffin.
Yes, end on the Man Muffin. John, if you will.
For who else but Tommy Else, this is John of johnsv.com, and we thank you for listening to Pinfalls Clash at the Castle.